Stay because we're afraid of leaving. We stay because we're afraid of what could happen after we leave. We stay because we're afraid of facing truths about ourselves when we leave. We stay because we are so terrified of having to look ourselves in the mirror and say, you messed up. You knew from the beginning this was the wrong person for you. There was this sign and this sign and this sign. And remember when they did this and remember when they said that? What did you do?
Hey ladies, welcome back. I am your host Naba. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on your way in. And if you're not new here, just go ahead and hit that like button. And I ask that all of you, old or new, please share this video. Somebody might need it. You know, a lot of women around the world are going through the same things. And this is going to definitely be a topic that we all know somebody or a lot of people who have been through some of this stuff and who are going through this stuff. Women who are thinking about leaving relationships. It's a hard thing to do. We all know that. You know, we got friends, we got family that we love, and we're trying to help them, but you can't seem to help them. But we're going to get into some of these videos and listen to what some of the women had to say, how they got out of their relationships and what they were thinking going through the process. And then I will be back with my commentary after this.
Comment I get is leaving your abuser is hard. Yeah. Yep. They make it hard. On purpose. If leaving was easy, you'd leave. It's really hard. And honestly, I'm not sure if people who aren't going through it could ever really understand. You might say, yeah, I know it's hard. It's harder than you think. But let me tell you something. You got to do it hard. Do it in spite of that. Prove them wrong. They said you were weak. They said you would never leave. They devalue you and make you feel like garbage. Prove them wrong. Find the strength. Dig it up. Find the courage. Find the tenacity. Find the money. Find free resources. Ask for favors. Yes, it is hard. It is so hard, but you can do it. I swear to you, you can do it. Do not give up. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. You're learning, you're growing. Keep going.
If anyone asks you why you can't leave a narcissistic or toxic relationship, send them this video. It comes down to this. When we're born, the way we survive as humans is based on how we attach to our caregivers. So when we're children, we attach to our parents in order to survive. That is a human system. When we go out into the world and we experience pain, or as children, like we fall over or we hurt ourselves, we run to that attachment from our parents to be soothed, to be safe, to feel loved and to feel nurtured. And as adults, we grow up and we still have those attachment needs, but they no longer become with our parents, and they usually transition to one with our partner. So we seek our partner's support, we seek our partner's nurture. What happens in a narcissistic relationship or a trauma bond is the relationship is set up at the beginning to be safe, nurturing and loving. So we are taught, we attach to them, and we are taught that this person is a safe person to come to when I experience pain. And then over time, that person becomes somebody that causes our pain. So the cycle is that we experience pain from this person that we love and are attached to, and then we go back to that person for the same nurture. And we don't know what version we're going to get. So we're attached to someone that is also creating the trauma and the pain. And often it is a psychological game from that other person. They are soothing the things that they've created within you, and your mindset and your trust within yourself has declined so much over the period of the relationship that you believe that they are helping you, and you believe that they are gonna change their behavior, or you believe that they're soothing you, or that it's your fault for how they reacted and how they treated you. That person in that situation, if you know someone in that situation, if you are in that situation, the only thing that person deserves is compassion and love. Questioning that person on why they can't leave and why they aren't capable of walking away, it runs so much deeper. There is a visceral physiological attachment and admiration to this person that functions very similar to Stockholm Syndrome, and that has to be taken really seriously.
I used to be in an abusive relationship, and I knew that I needed to leave. Well, part of me knew I needed to leave, but another part of me felt like I would die if I did. I loved him, but I also hated him. I felt like I was living in a fog. I couldn't make sense of my feelings. One minute things were amazing and great, and the next I was miserable. I was so tired of the roller coaster, but I couldn't get off. I didn't know how to get off. If you can relate to this, you might be stuck in what's called a trauma bond. A trauma bond is an emotional attachment in a relationship where there's positive reinforcement mixed with abuse. You almost feel like you can't exist without them, and your abuser groomed you to feel that way. They start by love bombing you and building trust and dependency, and then suddenly the relationship shifts. Now there's gaslighting and manipulation mixed with kindness, and you're confused as hell. Do you want to break this cycle? Change your life.
Why women do not leave their abusers. And I mean, I guess you could say, why don't men leave their female abusers also, but I'm going to focus on women. Being an outside person looking in on a woman who is in a domestic violence relationship, it's very hard to not understand why she does not leave. There are a few things. Trauma bonds. Trauma bonds is when the abuser basically somewhat brainwashes, gets into the woman's mind where it's hard for her to leave. Emotionally, it's hard for her to leave. Number two, if the man is very violent and very intimidating, sometimes when the woman has left the man, her life is basically, she's living in fear. When she goes out to her mailbox, she's looking around the corner. When she's at work, she's looking when she's walking to her car. Sometimes women who are abused, it's just easier to keep the man close to you because at least you know where he is. If you allow him to call you every day, at least you know you're satisfying him, or he's not going to be stalking you or possibly waiting at your front door and yank you in your place and beats you up or whatever it might be. People outside looking in on a relationship like this will never understand. But if you are one of these people listening and your friend, family member is in an abusive relationship, please be supportive and don't blame the victim. Just be there with open arms when the victim is ready to leave.
If your partner is abusive, you should leave. Well, not necessarily. Now, hold on. I'm not suggesting you stay and put up with abuse. But your partner could be abusive and the relationship could still be saved. So what might that mean? First and foremost, you need to stop any engagement with the abusive behavior. You draw a clear boundary. If that means you physically separate, if that means he or she moves out of the house, the abuse needs to stop. So that is number one step. Do not allow the abusive behavior to continue. But after that boundary is established, there may be a path forward. It's not going to be an easy one. But at times, there are reasons why a couple may choose to fight in that direction. So what could that look like? It's going to involve extensive counseling. It may involve inpatient psychiatric care. So it may involve your partner going on medication. Of course, it's probably going to involve couples counseling. It will be a significant investment, but at times, you may love your partner enough, or there may be other circumstances that compel you to try to save the relationship, even if your partner has at times been abusive.
Now, y'all know I wasn't going to just let that slide. I was all in his comments. No, this is what you don't want to do. They're not going to change. If you speak to anybody who knows about narcissistic, abusive men, no, they're not going to change. Therapy is not going to change them. As a matter of fact, therapy is probably 9 times out of 10 going to make them worse. And let me show you, this is what therapy will probably do for you if you want to go to like couples therapy, or if you want them to go to the therapy by themselves and they actually do it. This is what therapy is going to do.
If you're dealing with a narcissist or a toxic person, therapy may not stop the cheating and abusive toxic behaviors. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I actually have narcissistic personality disorder. I've said this before, but sometimes therapy can be used as an excuse to continue these behaviors right here. I'm in therapy. I just can't help cheating on you. If you love me, you'll stay with me and deal with it and help me and love me through everything. Or you can just leave me like everybody else has. You can abandon me like my mom did. A lot of people in my comment section are trying to get that toxic person to therapy like it's a guarantee that they will get better. Therapy is absolutely not a guarantee that they will get better. There are some horrible, not only does therapy not work for some people, there are some horrible therapists out here, y'all. Not every therapist is qualified to deal with a toxic person. Therapy is not the end all be all for toxic people, y'all. It just isn't. And it doesn't work for every single person. It's worked for me over the last 5 years because I allow it to work. I allow it to help me change my behaviors and things like that. Otherwise, it just becomes an excuse, y'all.
I've said this before in a few different videos that therapy does not necessarily make a narcissist or a toxic person better. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder, and I've been in psychotherapy for the past 4 years. Sometimes therapy gives people an excuse to be bad people. And they can say, hey, I went to therapy. The therapist said I was okay. You're actually the narcissist. You're actually the toxic person. Or they can make up some BS that the therapist said, because the therapist can't share information with you unless it's allowed, right? If they come home from therapy and y'all get into an argument, or you're trying to confront them about something, they can completely shut down and say, hey, my therapist said I don't have to talk to you if I don't want to. That's therapy for you. Therapy can actually help add tools to a narcissist arsenal. So just because you get that toxic person or that narcissistic person into therapy does not necessarily mean that that person is going to come out, a better person. Because I tell this to people all the time, therapy is tough, y'all. It just is. Therapy is pretty much finding a helpful stranger online that you trust your deepest, darkest secrets to. Stay strong, and I hope this.
So you've been warned what therapy possibly could do. It could possibly make it worse for you. You could try it. I'm not going to say don't try it, but just be aware that this could happen if you decide to go to therapy with a demon, aka a narcissist. Let's get back to the videos.
Fear can be paralyzing. Here's the 5 fears that I hear the most in my coaching practice. Number 1, the fear of being alone. Number 2, that you've invested all this time and they're going to go be better for the next person. Number 3, afraid for your kids. Number 4, fear that you, in fact, are the abuser, not them. Number 5, fear for your life. When we feel fear, we'll do anything to avoid the thing that triggers the fear, like leaving our abuser. We make excuses to stay to avoid leaving. Leaving is no small decision. So the obvious question, how do you get over this? Recognize your fear. Define your fear. Question whether or not the fear is real. Take baby steps to overcome the fear. Seek out help, whether it's coaching, therapy, support groups, or friends and family. Ask for help.
I hate to say this, but there's a lot of women that are not going to make it out of their relationship. For one, you still there after he beat on you, after he degraded you, after he broke you down and took everything from you, you are still there with that man. Just because he apologized, that don't mean nothing. I would have to apologize to you if I treated you right the first time. If I got to keep apologizing to you, it's to get in your head to make you stay with me. Because the only way to make you stay with me is make you believe I'm sorry. It make you believe that the reason why I'm beating on you is because of you. It ain't because of me. Now, every little thing you do, you try to help him, you try to cook, you try to clean, it ain't enough. He make you feel like you are the reason why you're getting treated wrong. And he don't want to blame himself. So now you're looking at yourself as the problem, as the issue, when he's the issue giving you a problem. So if you don't make it out, you're not going to live long.
Money purely so you have options. If you don't have financial freedom, that's how some women, they get stuck in abusive relationships because they're scared to leave, because they don't have their own money. They don't have their own savings. What are you going to do? I like having choice.
At least you don't feel like you have to ask your partner for allowance. It's like, I want to take it. Can you send me some money? That feels ew.
If the money thing in a marriage, if it causes power imbalance, is when it's not healthy. But there are some very healthy, loving marriages where one partner makes more than the other. Mutual respect, and no one uses anything against anyone else. That is lovely. That's not always the case, and I've heard stories, and that's why I do want to always have my own back in that way? You know, do I have the option to leave? Am I confident that I can do this on my own?
What advice would you give to a woman who's struggling in a relationship? And she's struggling in a relationship that she knows she needs to get out of. She doesn't know how.
Many of times I feel like the reason why a lot of women don't have the courage to get out of a toxic relationship is because they don't love themselves. They love that person more than they love themselves. When you love, truly, truly love yourself, you start to understand self-worth, self-value, and what it is that you deserve.
Moving on from the father of your child isn't easy. Most women are stuck between wanting freedom from a dissatisfying relationship and wanting to give their child a dream family they know their child deserves. But is it really a dream family when you are exposing your child to toxic behaviors that they will later emulate? You might be afraid that you won't be able to survive without him. Spoiler alert, you do survive. You might be afraid that he may turn against you and use your child to hurt you. Spoiler alert, you still survive. You might be afraid that he was your last chance at happiness. Spoiler alert, that's not true. Your baby daddy is not your last chance at love. He does not hold the key to your best future. The man who fathered your child is just that, the man who fathered your child. Men move on from relationships all the time for reasons that they feel no need to justify. And you have that same freedom. Visit LeaveYourBabyDaddy.com for your guide to freedom.
You may be scared to leave your relationship because you don't want to hurt your partner. Or conversely, you're scared because your partner might have a crazy reaction and they've got anger issues. Maybe you're afraid that you won't find someone better. And maybe you're scared of being alone. And all these reasons are understandable, but you need to address them because the next thing you know, months will go by. And then the months become years. And like I always say, we only have one life. So don't shelve this thing for too long.
And I feel like a lot of people say, oh, you know what? When you want to fall in love, you need to be fearless. But people forget that a lot of decisions made in romantic relationships come from a place of fear. Mm-hmm. The girlfriend that you advise that still stays with the same guy is from a place of fear because she doesn't know if she can do any better.
Yeah.
The person that gets with someone that doesn't treat them well, but the lifestyle seems nice from the money side of things, it's a self-esteem thing because I don't think I can do it on my own.
Okay, so let me stop right here. I just wanted to say this is a problem that I have with many women. Is when they've been in a lot of relationships and none of the relationships work out and the women don't think that they can do better. They don't think that they'll ever get married. They're like in their 30s or 40s and never been married and they're just so like defeated. Like, stop. Like, I feel like women just need to focus on themselves. When women feel like this, I feel like it's just because you don't love yourself and you really never had time to yourself to figure out, you know, what you want to do with yourself. Like, you always want to be attached to a man, and a lot of us, we've been with men or boys since we were teenagers, so that's all we know. I think it's just like a codependency where some of us just don't want to be alone. That's why you see women that's just hopping from relationship to relationship and having kids with man after man, and like men are doing the same thing. We're all just like so codependent and have to be up under somebody, and that has been like very detrimental to women, especially Black women. It hasn't worked in our favor at all. And I feel like if we had more like if we had community with other women, with like-minded women. I know a lot of women they feel like they don't want to be around women. They just have to have a man. I know that because I'm like around a lot of pick-me's and mammies, and I talk to them all the time. And I just get so irritated when I'm like, let's do a girls' night or let's do a trip and we could just do this with girls. No, girl, I need a man. Let's do a couples night and let's do this. And I'm like, no, like I get it, you know, but I've never really been like that. So, you know, I get it though for other women, but I've never been like that. So I'm just like, I like women. Like, I don't like women in my real life because like I'm a Virgo and I'm like, my mind doesn't work the way that everybody else's mind works, but if I could find like-minded women, like a community, I would be good with just women. I really would. Like, because I'm a loner, I'm an introvert. So I just think this is a big problem that women have, is thinking, because we've been programmed to think that we need to just get out of a relationship. And if we're like in our 30s, we have to get back in another one because we have to find that one so we can get married and have kids and settle down. It's nearly impossible at this point. So women, stop stressing yourselves out trying to do that. Focus on other stuff. Like, focus on going back to school. Like, right now I'm in school to learn Spanish. Like, focus on learning how to take care of your natural hair and grow it out. Focus on I don't know, growing a garden. Or if you don't know how to cook, learn how to cook. If you're overweight and want to get in shape, go to the gym, learn how to work out, try to get a trainer if you don't. Just, it's so many things that you could be doing. You could be, it's just so much stuff you could be doing. You could be like sponsoring a little African child. You could be building a school. Women got so much that we could be doing instead of trying to be in a relationship, which always slows us down. That it's just crazy that all we seem to want to do is just get in another relationship. And just after that one ends, we spend like months or even years being brokenhearted and not being the best that we can be. We need to stop that. Like, we really do. And like, ladies, I'm telling you, the only people that I have to talk to are you. You are the only ladies that I can talk to that are like-minded. In my real life, my everyday life, nobody else agrees with anything I say. So just know that you're not alone. If you like are out in this world and you feel alone, you may not find nobody except the people online. And that's fine with me for now. But eventually I feel like I'm going to meet up with people in my everyday life and we can talk, and like I talk to you ladies here. So let's get back to the videos.
The minute you stop being scared to leave a man that does absolutely nothing for you is the same minute that you realize your true worth.
What to do when you're scared to leave a man that you're in love with because he barely has any money? You need to ask yourself this question first. What made you originally attracted to him? Is he ambitious? Is he trying to change the situation that he's currently in? When a man is trying to build an empire, it's not going to happen overnight. You need to apply a little bit of patience, because you may have a side guy that's providing for you and doing all the things that you love. But remember, an angel you know is better than the devil that you don't know.
Okay, I had to stop right here again because no ma'am. This is something that Black women have done forever and ever. I don't know about other races of women. I doubt they have done this because they hadn't had to, but never try to build a man up. Never try to wait for a man to get to where he needs to be. This is mainly for younger girls that I'm talking to, but I know there's a lot of older women that are still out there trying to do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. We're not building bears in 2024. We're choosing bears, but we're not building bears. I hope y'all start choosing. Y'all are saying that y'all choose the bears, but I don't think y'all really choose the bears, because I don't see that. I see y'all crying online about what men are doing, but I really don't see y'all choosing the bear, because if y'all were choosing the bear, y'all still wouldn't be crying about all the stuff that men are doing to women right now because you're trying to be with them. But anyway, I'm derailing the whole thing. But yeah, never build a man up. If he doesn't have his stuff together when he comes to you, don't get with him. I don't care. Like, men from the age of 20 to 30, I would say about 30, should be working on themselves, should be working on how to communicate with people, should be working on how to get their own money so they won't have to depend on women. They should be trying to go to school. They should be trying to build. They should be doing all of that in their 20s and, in their 20s, all of their 20s. That's what they should be doing after they get out of high school. Don't listen to this girl. This is how Black women have continued to be in poverty, by not just being worried about ourselves in our 20s. We're always worried about, not just Black women, all women are worried about getting married, but we can't afford to do that because our group of men, or this group of men, my bad, I don't claim all of them. I'm sorry. I really don't. But this group of men is not the same as other groups of men. Yeah. So we cannot afford to give them chances. That's the difference between us and other women in the world. They have to come already self-made, because if we help build them up, we've seen what they do time and time and again. They use that, they step on us until they get to up to where they need to be. And then they find the woman that they really want to be with. And then you see women online crying about it. You know, I did this, and this for him, and I held him down while he was in prison, and I did this, and I bought him a business, and I got him a business, and I filled out all his applications and forms because he couldn't. I taught him how to read. I taught him how to look people in the eye, and mothers are like, I taught my son I did my son's test for them in college. This is all the stuff that Black women are doing for their sons, husbands, and boyfriends. Stop. Don't know. It's 2024 going into 2025. Don't do that. So let's get back to the videos.
Everyone, so a lot of people always ask, so they're in a violent relationship, why don't they just leave? And that's always easier said than done, first of all. And then there's usually a whole host of reasons, right? Stability, financial reasons, manipulation. But then there is that very real possibility of being harmed or killed if they leave. Did you know that the statistical probability of being murdered by your intimate partner actually increases for the following 18 months after you leave a violent relationship? And if you are being threatened, if you have in your mind that this person may harm you or murder you, that the likelihood of that actually happening goes up after you leave. And so the safety planning process really needs to be in place, and you really need to have those supports in place after you leave, because the likelihood is very high after you leave a relationship, or while you're trying to leave a relationship. That's when the homicide rates are high, when you're leaving a violent relationship. So, if you have someone that that is involved in this, and they're afraid, their fears are very real for what could happen. All right, everyone, have a great day.
Ever since I left my abusive ex-boyfriend who decided to cook himself, my life has known nothing but peace. Seriously, if you are thinking about leaving somebody, do it. Because 8 years later, I'm literally sitting in a house in my backyard, fruit trees everywhere, with my kid who's running away right now because she's using the sprinklers, and my husband who just ordered me $75 worth of Olive Garden. Is right. Leave that man. Y'all are sitting here finagling with these men who ain't worth a damn. Well, your husband is out there looking for you. I used to have to pay my ex to help wash dishes. That's why when I be talking about leaving these useless men, I used to date useless men, y'all. I know what you are going through. Leave that man. Because your husband, who will buy you a house and walk through hell with gasoline drawers on, is out there waiting for you, but you too busy dealing with somebody you shouldn't be dealing with. Leave him. I know peace. I want you to know that peace too.
It's incredibly dangerous to leave an abuser, because the final step in the domestic violence pattern is kill her. Over 70% of domestic violence murders happen after the victim has ended the relationship, because then the abuser has nothing left to lose. Other outcomes include long-term stalking, even after the abuser remarries, denial of financial resources, and manipulation of the family court system to terrify the victim and her children. And still we ask, why doesn't she just leave? I was able to leave because of one final sadistic beating that broke through my denial. I realized that the man who I loved so much was going to kill me if I let him. So I broke the silence. I told everyone. The police, my neighbors, my friends and family, total strangers. And I'm here today because you all helped me. Abuse thrives only in silence. You have the power to end domestic violence simply by shining a spotlight on it.
Narcissists can sense you pulling away. They can sense you knowing that something is not right with this person. They can sense you maybe about to do a discard, or you're about to be the one to leave. They can sense all of that because the narcissist moves purely off of emotions and feelings and not so much logic. So when the narcissist senses that you are about to leave, this is when they up the ante on the discard and the devalue stage. When you are leaving the narcissist, you have to move in stealth mode. That means you have to be silent. Don't announce your next move. There are plenty of men and women who are being harmed because the narcissist knew they were about to leave, or they made an announcement, or they had a big argument. Move in silence and protect your life. All right? Bye.
If you're in a toxic relationship, they say one of the biggest signs to tell is you spend a lot of time contemplating if you should stay or go, and you're never sure which one it is. Does that sound like you? If it does, I'm so sorry, because I've been there. I remember when I read that, I was like, oh my God, I've been feeling this way for 5 years. And didn't even realize, because that's the point of a toxic abusive relationship. You don't realize what it is for what it is when you're in it, because of all the chaos they're purposely manufacturing to distract you and all of that shit. But hear me out. You're never going to be ready to leave. You're never going to feel like, all right, now is the time. You got to leave scared. You got to leave knowing it's going to be the hardest decision you've ever made, because that's what it was for me. As crazy as that sounds to outsiders, don't expect them to get it. You have to make the hardest decision to walk away from someone who you know is abusing you, that you still also love, but you know you got to go. And it's going to be painful. I'm not going to lie. It was a rough 2 months. I'm a mom to our child together, ironically, and I barely got out of bed, but I did what I could. Come on, honey, let's have movie night. I made it work. We stayed in bed, and I did what I had to do. But I promise you that deep, dark pain that's just crippling and feels like it's a physical pain, because it is, will pass. And you got to sit through it and take it day by day. It's like withdrawal from a drug, because quite literally that's what you're doing. It's a trauma bond, and you're withdrawing from them. And don't go back. Remember, each day is a day forward. Why go back to just feel this all over again? Because you'll be right back there. And once you get to like 60 days to 90 days, you'll start shifting from like what my life could have been like with them to I'm free. I get to have a life. Who am I going to meet next? Do I even need anybody? Like, you can realize you're back in charge of your story. You don't have someone controlling and manipulating you and drowning you down. So you're never going to feel like you're ready, but you just got to do it. You got to choose yourself. You deserve so much better than this. How long have you known that? No one's going to save you. You got to save yourself, and you can do this. Trust me. I didn't think I could do it, but I'm here and I did it. And that's why I make these videos, to try to inspire others. You can do it too. And now I'm happier than I've ever been. And that's going to happen for you too. You just got to be strong and make that first painful move. You got this.
Yeah, ladies. So we have a lot to do. I have my own tips for ladies who are in this situation. A lot of these men will run away your family, your friends, and your support system. They do that on purpose. They drive wedges between you, and they'll do that by like flirting with your family and friends and making them uncomfortable, and just always just trying to make the people around you uncomfortable so they can just seclude you and you won't have a support system. This is what they do. And, you know, I know that. You know, I've gone through that with somebody that I love very, very much, but try not to seclude everybody, or just try not to, try to stay in touch with the people in your life that love you, the people in your life that have tried to help you, because you're going to need them. You're going to need them a lot. This topic makes me really sad because it's personal for me, y'all. So, bear with me. Yeah, it's personal for me, and I'm sure it's personal for a lot of y'all. Yeah. If you can, if you're in a really toxic relationship, try to sit down and think and make a plan. And if you're close with your mom, your sister, or any women that you trust, come up with a plan with them. Try to get out on dates, or try to talk to them whenever and wherever you can. And get out, you know, try to make a plan and try to get out. Sometimes, like the man said on here, a lot of women don't make it out because a lot of women don't know what to do, and they're scared, and they're not, you know, they just stay there, and sometimes they're not careful. And in the midst of them planning, something could happen and it could go wrong. And especially if you have kids that you're worried about getting out with you, you have to really try to plan it. I hate that if you're alone, you have to do that by yourself, but You have to dig down deep to do what you need to do, ladies, especially for your kids, because sometimes I'm on Reddit a lot and I see a lot of these men, they will take out the closest people to you, whether that be your pets, your family members that you love dearly, your plants. A lot of men will destroy your plants purposely and act like they didn't know. Anything that you love and that is near and dear to you, they will try to take it out of the picture just to hurt you. And you have family that is sitting around, you have friends that are sitting around that loves you. And if you don't try to connect with the people here online, see, I hate that we can't give out our information, like what states we live in, because I want to somehow connect with people who think like me in my state, but it's hard to just put all your information online. So, you know, get down in the comments and just let me know if there's any ways that you can think of that we can connect more. Like, I even want to like try to plan cruises, you know, sometimes with each other, so we can just connect and get to see each other face to face, because I don't like hiding behind, you know, this picture I have up right now. I do it because I know that it's dangerous for women to get on here and talk about the stuff that I talk about. And I know somebody could probably find my picture online, but you know, whatever. But I'm doing this to protect myself. But I don't mind seeing you guys. Ladies, that's still something I'm working on. I call you guys at least once in all of my live streams, but I'm sorry. I'm working on that still. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I got to say. I thank each and every one of you, and I'm hoping and praying that if anybody has listened to this that knows somebody that's going through this or has been through this or is going through this right now, that you heard something that helps you and that encourages you to get out. I hope you got the strength that you need, and I hope that you have family and friends, and I hope that you are getting a plan together. So, ladies, I am about to go watch a movie and settle in with a glass of Prosecco because it's Saturday and I am tired. And I love you all, and I appreciate everyone who is here and listens to this video and shares it. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.